Okay, so I'll introduce myself first. I'm Alexis Cooper, the BCBA on this case. And this is our group project, and I'll pass it over to Carolina.
My name is Carolina, and I am also another BCBA on this case.
And
And sorry. I'm Morgan McSweeney. I am the parent in our case.
okay, so Morgan, do you want to tell us a little bit about Sophia? And then we'll go over what we have for her on her client profile.
Yes. So Sophia, she is our sweet little 4-year-old. She loves playing with numbers and letters and her dolls. Recently, she was diagnosed with autism and ADHD, so we are just hoping to find the best services for her to grow. Some things that, you know, we're hoping for. She can tell us her wants, but in 2 words. So we're just hoping to expand on that more, to help her gain more independence, grow her language skills, um, just try to help her as early as possible with skills like completing a routine. Sometimes she gets upset if change a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but just wanting to give her um, the best skills.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so basically, based on our um first kind of interview with you, this is what we had put together for Sophia. Um, just to go over basically what you already said. She's 4. She has a diagnosis of autism and ADHD, and she doesn't have any prior exposure to intervention. So it's so great that you're here and getting her early intervention because that's so important. And we have here what she's interested in, letters and numbers, but we also know just from our previous conversation, she loves her books, her dolls, and her puzzles. So that's definitely something that we can incorporate into her intervention. Um, so under her skills, you'll see probably a lot of words that might not mean anything to you. So I just want to go over them um, and basically tell you what they mean. So minimal manding, that just means she has ways to ask for things, but not at the level that we want her to be at. So when you say that she can say, 2 words, that's basically what manding is when she's asking for things in 2 words. So that's another thing that we'll definitely work on is, increasing that vocabulary. Tacting is just another way of saying, labeling things. So if I show you a picture of a car and a child says car, that's a tact. So that's just one way of saying that. So we just want to work on that and, expose her to as many things as possible and get her really talking about her environment. Um, and we also have talked about how she has those play skills, but it is pretty independent. So we also want to work on those socialization skills with her. And then motor skills is basically just anything involving movement. So that could be like throwing a ball, like if we could work on things like that. And I know that we haven't gone into all of her skills and everything, but I just wanted to go over those skills so that you have a better understanding of what we put together. Um,
Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense.
no
Yeah,
problem.
motor skills is definitely something that we're wanting her to keep working on.
Awesome. All right, so I will now pass it over to Carolina. She'll go over the VB map first.
All right. So, um, usually when we do our initial assessments and we create our plans, our intervention plans for our clients, we usually want to do an assessment first just to see where Sophia's at. So we want to see where her language is, where her communication skills are, behaviors, things of the sorts. So we have various different assessments that we can use. One of them that I'm going to describe right now is the VB map. This is the Verbal Behavior Milestone Assessment and Placement Program. That's, shortened, it's VB map. This assessment is really good for Sophia in particular because this one is from specifically for children who are usually from 0 to 4 years old. So with this assessment, it separates their goals into like level 1, level 2, level 3, and that is depending on their age range. So for example, level 1 can be the language, communication, motor skills, etc., that a 0 to 18-month-old would have. So when we use this assessment, we can see where is Sophia at with her language skills, with her communication, behavior, imitation, etc. And from there, we can start working on how Morgan was saying, working on things such as her requesting skills. So, if she's going to request using signs or if she's going to request using 1 or 2 words, and from there, just creating a, bigger sentence with her communication. We can work on her labeling things in the natural environment, like at home, she can label the car when she's playing with her toys, or she can label them in a book, things like that. We do work also on repetition, so repeating words. This also helps her expand her vocabulary by being able to, like if she wants something, instead of just saying, I want cookie, like we can teach her how to say, can you give me this, please? And just really expanding that. We could also work on back and forth conversations. So, how was your day? My day was good. We also target group skills, which is really important, for her age at 4 and for preschool environments and for schools, those social skills, those group skills in, classroom environments. And of course, the imitation, the motor skills is something else that the VB map allows us to assess where she's at. And then from there, create a plan for her to grow from. Um, like I said, we will assess social skills as well in that one. And the good news with the VB map is that we will have an assessment with you where we learn about where Sophia is at with her goals. And we also will see Sophia in her natural environment. We'll ask her a couple of questions. We'll see where she's at communication wise, if she has any behaviors in her natural environment. And we're constantly tracking where she's at. So if she meets goals, we're gonna, master those goals out, and we're gonna bring in new goals. So the VMAP is very good when it comes to this early intervention because it allows us to really get the goals that is required for her age range.
Okay, that was one question that I had was like, where do you begin and then do you move on to something else or you just stay in one spot the whole time? So that did have a question that I had. I
Yes.
do like that you said it would be in a natural environment. So it would be like kind of what we would be saying as well.
Yes. So we definitely really strive for natural environment, whether that be in the home, school, etc. We love to do natural environments. And yeah, we'll definitely always take the assessment, see where she's at starting, and then from there she would move on, from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 and so forth.
Okay, great. Thank you. And there's another assessment?
Yes. So now I'm going to talk about PEAK. So what PEAK stands for is promoting the emergence of advanced knowledge. Um, it too can be used for any age, but most of the kiddos that we assess using PEAK are between 3 and 8. And it assesses a variety of skills, but most of those skills are aimed toward more advanced conversational and basic math skills. So, the type of things that you would need to acquire if you were going to school at a higher level. Um, just like the VB map, it is based off we would directly observe our learner and see how he or she does in her natural environment. But there's also this other component where some of the teaching required is more structured. So they call this discrete child training. And basically, it's like taking a kid to a table, you have them sit and you present targets to them. And there's this, research process on how to get them to respond to whatever target you're presenting so that they correctly learn it. Um, and these are great interventions for older kids. But we just think that since Sophia is only 4, you said she's very energetic, and she likes to move around a lot. We want the intervention to be as fun as possible for her. This is about, promoting her own independence in her natural environment. So if she's not sitting at a table and if she's not going to benefit from that, then there's no reason for us to implement an intervention that requires that. So that's why me and both Carolina do believe that the VB map would be a better assessment and overall intervention plan for her. And Peak is a lot newer than VB map as well. So just based on like research and everything, there is a lot of research that goes into, assessments for our kids because we want the best for them. And VB Map does have a lot of, valid and reliable data to back up basically our interventions. And we see those interventions working with our kids, and we see them gaining these skills and we see them socializing and we see promoting their independence and, making their quality of life that much better. And don't get me wrong, Peak does too, but it is newer. So, like Carolina talked about those assessments that you would also answer, Morgan, as a parent. And those are directly related to Sophia's skills that you get to answer. Peak has those too, but the research doesn't really necessarily back up that those answers and those scores on your interview will be correlated to how she does on the assessment. Um, and that might be because it needs more work, or it just might be because the research just isn't there yet. So we don't really know. But um, overall, we do really think that the VB map is the better choice in this scenario. It's a more natural way of teaching, and VB map also gives us, kind of a step-by-step process with the different levels that Carolina talked about, and gives us really a roadmap of, where Sophia's at, where we need to work on. And it's fun and I think, in my opinion, it's natural environment teaching. So when she's in home in the preschool, you get that more natural sense of just her learning from her environment.
Mhm.
Do you have any questions about the peak or?
No, I think I agree with you just with what you were saying with what the peak entails that yeah, definitely a more natural environment would be the best for her and maybe in the future, work on more of those school environment skills, but she's just not there yet. So I wouldn't want to put her in a situation that was uncomfortable for her.
100%. And, as our learners do get older, there will be other assessments that it's not like you have to stick with the VB map until, because, there is a ceiling with the VB map when they reach a certain age and a certain level, because like Carolina said, it's up to 4 years old. So once she gets past those learning targets, then maybe this is something we can consider in the future.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's great. That makes sense.
okay. And now Carolina will go into why the VB map is the right assessment to use.
So, as Morgan was saying, the VB map, it's gonna be it's probably gonna be the best assessment for Sophia because she is an early learner, and the VB map really focuses on those early learning prerequisite skills. So, we really want to focus on those skills first before we move on to more advanced things with Sophia. So, like we were saying, we want to expand her communication. So with manding, manding is what we, call for requesting and for requesting things. So we can really expand her vocabulary and expand her sentences. And as Morgan was saying, with the VB map, we have the opportunity to really do a lot of natural environment. So we can have Sophia in the home, going to you, going to dad, asking for toys, asking for water, siblings, kids at school. So she can really work on those skills. Um, Again, the VB map goes through all the goals that typically developing kids would be meeting from age 0 to 4. So that really helps us to ensure that she's reaching the goals that she needs, the prerequisite skills that she needs to obtain, to level 1, level 2, level 3, and then to be able to move on to the other assessments such as PEAK for older kids. As we were saying, it really just really with the VB map, it's a lot of just the natural environment, especially with early learners. Early learners, a lot of their focus really is for like play skills and just like social skills, communication skills, and those things they really grasp and absorb better in a natural environment than sitting, because since they are a lot younger, sometimes they can't attend the same way to the direct table time that we would do with a little bit of older kids. So for them, it's really just constantly showing them things in the natural environment, constantly, making things fun, kind of just teaching them through play without even having them realize that they're learning. And especially for her age range, that's why we think VMAP would be the best assessment. So we can really target those skills and those goals and make it fun for her, make it seem like she's not really, doing work, even if it's work.
That sounds nice. She would like that.
So now I'm just going to go over the next steps for us. So we should set up a date for a formal assessment for Sophia, so that we can observe her language and her skills in your natural environment, whether that be at home. We could even do it at a playground. It's really will revolve around your schedule and everything. We can also run a direct table time or natural environment training to run those questions when we assess her, just so we see which level she is at. And like Carolina said, that's where we're going to get the most information as her BCBAs, because then we know where to start her, because you don't want to start her too far advanced, but you also don't want to start teaching her things that she has already mastered. So that will give us a really clear picture on where she is. And then after that, we'll set up a formal treatment plan. So we'll go over goals and targets for Sophia based on those results, but also on your family's wants and needs. So, this is going to be an ongoing dialogue between the three of us about what types of things you want to work on in the home. You'll let us know what you're seeing at home, what types of routines that you were talking about that you want to work on. So this is going to be a constant dialogue between the three of us. And like we previously said, we're going to continuously monitor her goals and see how she's mastering out of them. And we're going to continue to communicate those with you. So if something is working, that's awesome. And we'll communicate that. But if something isn't working, we'll also communicate that. And we'll figure out a way to, revamp her intervention plan and see where we need to really maybe focus in on. But that's basically it. So do you have any other questions for us today?
You guys gave a lot of great information. I think the only thing during the assessment would this be like a one-on-one with you, like the parent, like her dad and I wouldn't be there, or like we might be doing our own thing.
Yeah.
So
Oh, go ahead, Carolina. You can go.
Oh, so with the VB-MAP assessment, since that's going to be the assessment, it's going to go into different parts. So there will be one part where we kind of do a formal interview with you and dad, and we kind of just, learn more about her, the goals that you guys want to see, the things that you see at home, what you guys want to work on, where she's at. So we'll do that formal assessment. And then we also will do an assessment with Sophia by herself. In this case, we like to have the parents there, but we usually will have a therapist and a supervisor with Sophia. And then we'll go ahead and kind of just ask, like run some targets, ask her some questions, kind of just get to know her and see where she's at. So it would be in those two parts. But of course, parents are always welcome and always, we always welcome you guys to be there and to be able to see. So we'll do those in like those two parts.
Okay. And then my only other question is, and you said it also, but we'll get a copy of the results when we meet again after, or like a plan of action.
Yes. So after the assessment is done, we can definitely give you a copy of, where we see that she's at, whether it's like level 1, level 2, level 3. We'll give you a copy of what we came up with. And then of course, once we come up with the intervention plan, every time we come up with an intervention plan or anytime that we update goals and things like that, we always send it to the parents to read it, see if you guys agree with the goals that we're coming up with, so you guys can see her progress on her intervention. And you guys will always sign off before anything is implemented. We always want to have that open communication so you guys know what she's working on. And you guys, of course, can say, yes, we want to do this. No, we don't want to do that. It's always going to be that kind of open communication.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. It sounds good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I'll just go through these. All right. Well, thank you so much for meeting with us.